Hello, everyone. My name is Angelo, and I am an OG passport brother. I brought my wife here, my fiance here from Vietnam. We got married a few months ago, and now we're going through the process for the change of status because she is going to get her green card, and we're going to handle some things over the next couple of years, and before we finally settle up, pack up, and relocate to Southeast Asia. That said, I have an article that I've written for my blog that I actually want to read to you verbatim because I don't want to miss any of the details of the article. So, as you know, if you've been watching YouTube, there's been a lot of mentions of so-called passport brothers traveling overseas, going abroad, and then being caught out there, robbed, stolen from, kidnapped, and even unalived. While I'm not trying to make light of that, there was a video that came out by a young man, reminded me of that scenario, that situation, but from a different perspective. And I think both of these two details can be useful to passport brothers in remaining safe when they go overseas. So I'm just going to go ahead and read my article verbatim. So please follow along. Passport brothers making fatal mistakes overseas. There is a funny clip of a young man talking about how women who date thugs, criminals, and drug dealers should only be allowed to date those types of men because they will never be happy with anyone else. I wholeheartedly agree with this statement and the sentiment. It's ironic that a lot of these women are sensation seekers, and they want the life and death excitement of being around a bad boy. But later in life, when they get close to that wall, they decide they want a stand-up 9-to-5 CEO type dude. And that's utter ridiculousness. They will never be satisfied, and they will never get the sensation and the danger that they're accustomed to experiencing. Worse, they are subjecting the new man, the new guy, to utter torment and torture as he tries to entertain their thirst for danger. My first bullet point is to stay in your lane. There are a lot of passport brothers out there who are making fatal mistakes overseas by not having any situational awareness and ignoring obvious red flags. There are scammers and gold diggers and crooks and robbers in every country, every city, and every place on earth. Just because a particular nation or country tends to have a bit more family-friendly values at its core than America does at the present time does not mean that that country is absent of all crime and danger. The fact is, many of these countries that the passport boys are going to or visit are simply put dangerous countries. There's nothing safe about the Dominican Republic. I'm sorry. There's nothing safe about many countries in South America. There's nothing safe about places in Eastern Europe that border communist countries. Passport brothers have got to do better. First of all, we have to stop towing the line between dating and sex tourism. There are far too many young men with passports traveling around with YouTube channels whose sole mission is to determine how quickly they can sleep with a woman from another country. This type of behavior feeds directly into all of the rhetoric that women and passport bro haters are spewing. We have to do better. There are a lot of successful YouTube channels, and they talk about the benefit of finding women suitable for marriage in countries like Thailand and the Philippines. Personally, my favorite destination is Vietnam because women are feminine, delicate, hardworking, agreeable, and family oriented. But a lot of these channels only talk about big booty women shaking their asses on yachts and in the nightclubs and in the bars, wearing skin tight pants and thong bikinis. Personally, that's never been my thing, and I'm a fairly average guy, and so I think there are more people like me than there are guys who can afford the big yacht parties and the expensive nightclubs. Passport brothers need to understand that if that's not your thing in the United States, that shouldn't be your thing when you go abroad. You're not a chameleon. You're going to get hurt. You're going to get taken advantage of. You're going to meet a woman who games you because they exist everywhere. Whenever I see a Passport Brother video talking about big booties in the club, and they're talking about attending a players ball type yacht party and all that, I'm not the least bit interested. I'm more interested in the culture. I'm more interested in going to a museum or a park or tasting the local culinary delights or walking through the city and admiring the different architecture. And I'm more interested in learning the language. And as I said, I'm pretty average. And I think there are more people like me as Passport Brothers than there are more people who prefer the big booty yachts and the yacht clubs. I am the typical Passport Bro, I believe. I believe most Passport Brothers are like me. They're closer to my age. They're not some horny 20-something-year-old man who just wants to get his wet. We have to start wagging our fingers at these young men who are perpetuating the stereotype of men traveling just to have sex with exotic women. This is why, from a personal standpoint, I prefer places like Vietnam and South Korea and Japan and Cambodia. These places have rich cultural histories, and the penalties for crime in these areas are severe, which makes them a lot safer. It's not like Mexico. It's not like South America or some places in the Caribbean where the cops and the bad guys are interchangeable. We have to do better. Watch yourselves, my brothers. Never trust a big butt and a smile. That girl is likely poison. Word up. Deuces. Be safe out there. Don't be stupid.